March 10th, 2023. Daily Bread. Passage, Nehemiah chapter 13, verse 15 to verse 31. Key verse 22. Title, Purify the Lifestyle. In those days, I saw people in Judah treading wine presses on the Sabbath and bringing in grain and loading it on donkeys, together with wine, grapes, figs, and all other kinds of loads. And they were bringing all this into Jerusalem on the Sabbath. Therefore, I warned them against selling food on that day. People from Tyre who lived in Jerusalem were bringing in fish and all kinds of merchandise and selling them in Jerusalem on the Sabbath to the people of Judah. I rebuked the nobles of Judah and said to them, "What is this wicked thing you are doing, desecrating the Sabbath day? Didn't your ancestors do the same things, so that our God brought all this calamity on us and on this city? Now you are stirring up more wrath against Israel by desecrating the Sabbath." When evening shadows fell on the gates of Jerusalem before the Sabbath, I ordered the doors to be shut and not opened until the Sabbath was over. I stationed some of my own men at the gates, so that no load could be brought in on the Sabbath day. Once or twice the merchants and sellers of all kinds of goods spent the night outside Jerusalem. But I warned them and said, "Why do you spend the night by the wall? If you do this again, I will arrest you." From that time on, they no longer came on the Sabbath. Then I commanded the Levites to purify themselves and go and guard the gates in order to keep the Sabbath day holy. Remember me for this also, my God, and show mercy to me according to your great love. Moreover, in those days I saw men of Judah who had married women from Ashdod, Ammon, and Moab. Half of their children spoke the language of Ashdod, or the language of one of the other peoples, and did not know how to speak the language of Judah. I rebuked them and called curses down on them. I beat some of the men and pulled out their hair. I made them take an oath in God's name and said, "You are not to give your daughters in marriage to their sons, nor are you to take their daughters in marriage for your sons or for yourselves." Was it not because of marriages like these that Solomon, king of Israel, sinned? Among the many nations, there is no king like him. He was loved by his God, and God made him king over all Israel, but even he was led into sin by foreign women. Must we hear now that you too are doing all this terrible wickedness and are being unfaithful to our God by marrying foreign women? One of the sons of Joiada, son of Eliashib the high priest, was son-in-law to Sanballat the Horonite, and I drove him away from me. Remember them, my God, because they defiled the priestly office and the covenant of the priesthood and of the Levites. So I purified the priest and the Levites of everything foreign, and assigned them duties each to his own task. I also made provision for contributions of wood at designated times, and for the firstfruits. Remember me with favor, my God. Daily Bread Message. The Israelites quickly returned to a lawless lifestyle. Nehemiah reinforced the Sabbath law by banning people from buying and selling on the Sabbath, and by keeping the gates closed and guarded on the Sabbath, so that foreign merchants would not enter the city for business. Nehemiah ordered the Levites to purify themselves first and guard the gates. Spiritual leaders must be awake and alert to fight against the influence of the world. Mixed marriage and the cultural and spiritual influence the foreign mothers had on the children was another issue Nehemiah severely dealt with. Even the high priest had his grandson marry a daughter of Sanballat the Horonite, who opposed the work of God. Nehemiah drove him out of his position. Nehemiah, as a leader, built a new system to uphold spiritual authority. The restoration of God's people began with rebuilding the temple and the wall. They read the law and had a new decision to obey his commands. However, the Israelites' failure to sustain their decision shows that the restoration of people can only be achieved from a personal level when each one works to keep their heart pure and honor God. Prayer. Father, I have a desire to be right before you, but I am too weak to keep up. Please give me a pure heart and restore my life in you. One word: purify yourself and guard the gates.